Hey, look, before we get this show started, let's get right into the shenanigans real quick. Hold up.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
And down went Frazier, y'all. Listen, if you're just now checking into the AP poll, that top 25 poll, you know that poll that people be in the comments, my comments specifically over here on Her Court, Her Rules, telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that poll. That poll, if you're just now checking in to the AP top 25 poll and your eyebrows went up like mine, what the hell? Okay, you're not alone, my friend. The first rankings of 2026 are out. First of all, it's crazy to even be saying 2026. Are y'all human? I can't believe we are in 2026, but that's beside the point. The first rankings of 2026 are out. And we are not easing into this year, y'all. We got off into a bang. We got off, we hit the mark on your mark, and we turned up already in 2026. My last episode to close out the year, I said I don't do New Year's resolutions, but all I want this year is good basketball. And boy, the year is already delivering. Top teams have slipped, some teams have climbed, and some teams, went down like
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
Yo, LSU, shout out to LSU, but they went down like Joe Frazier in 73. You heard? Might be a little bit older than y'all. That's okay. Y'all gonna catch it later. The poll is here, and tonight we're breaking it down. We're gonna talk about who rose. Of course, we're gonna talk about who slipped and fell, bust their head real quick, scuff their Tims. And then we are going to talk about who may be living off reputation. So happy Monday, y'all. Y'all already know it's your girl, Najah Lee. Welcome back to Her Court, Her Rules. We do this every Monday at 6 p.m. ish EST. And tonight, y'all already know it's going to go down like it can only go down on Her Court, Her Rules, the realest women's basketball breakdown on the net, and the only place where women's hoops meets higher perspective. And of course, before we hop into the full episode today, y'all already know what we got to do. Y'all know each and every episode is powered by Free Your Lenz, a lifestyle brand encouraging dope people like you to move, create, and do all things with purpose and intention. And we are on our road to 500 subscribers. So everybody who pull up, I appreciate it if y'all hit that like, get into the comments, hop into the live chat. You already know live chat ain't nothing but love party. It's a fun time. You feel me? You know how we gonna get it down over here. So hop into the live chat. Make sure if you catching it on the replay, get into the comments. You know what I'm saying? Let me know your thoughts. Express yourself. Your voice is always appreciated over here. And again, each and every piece of engagement is much appreciated. Much love from me to y'all. Listen, let's get right into the episode, man, because I told y'all the shenanigans. The shenanigans down went Frazier, but who didn't go down though, okay, is the top four. Yeah. The top 25, it's been a big reset already in 2026. Okay. Not just with individual losses, but we talking about back-to-back losses with ranked teams. We're also talking about every team from 5 to 10 lost a game in a 4-day window. I'm not making that up. Y'all think I'm bugging? I'm not making that bug. I'm not. Listen, y'all see the screen. ESPN tweeted this. I said, "What? Yo, this is really crazy, right?" Let's look at the top 10 real briefly, and then we go deep dive. Okay, boom. UConn, unshaken, unbreaking. They ain't worried about nothing. Okay. South Carolina, they number 3. I'm jumping down, right? Because I read from boom, boom, boom. Okay, so boom. Number 3, we got South Carolina, right? We got number 2, Texas. Now Texas has a tough game. South Carolina had a tough game. They didn't just beat nobody by 30 points either. They had to fight for that one, right? UCLA had a tough first quarter. they did. They just We're gonna talk about that game briefly. Not too much, because everybody who saw just a little bit of the UCLA USC game, it was nasty work. It was nasty work. But shout out to them. So the top four, they ain't taking no L's. They good, right? Even if it was a tough win, they good. But it gets real interesting right after we get out of that top four. Okay. So we ain't spending too much time today talking about the top four teams. We will touch on the Texas Ole Miss game because that game is important. But UConn, South Carolina, UCLA, they've been holding their own respectfully. So has Texas, but Texas just had a really tough challenge against Ole Miss. So let's talk about these last couple games and let's break down this top 25 AP poll. Welcome back, y'all. Y'all know how we do this. Every time the poll drop, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about what we like, what we don't like, and maybe who we think we should be more worried about. Okay. Now, this last week then exposed a lot. We're going to talk about it. Boom. Let's get right into it. Duke spanks Notre Dame. I'm talking about think. Okay. Spanking. The game was interesting like never. I'm talking about as far as it kind of being close. It never really was a close game. If y'all watch any bit of that game, it never seemed that Notre Dame was going to get back in get back in the game and make it where you were doubting that Duke wasn't going to walk away with that dub. From the first quarter, as y'all see, the box score, quarter by quarter, from the very first quarter, Duke was in control. And they didn't let their foot off the pedal, even though, they have some, outstanding players over there at Notre Dame. We already know. You feel me? We know how they cut. However, this season has been proven to be a little challenging for Notre Dame this year, right? I don't know. Maybe it's because the one half of the two-headed snake is gone off to TCU. I don't know. But also, I'm sorry, correction. Sonya Citron, her being in the league, not having that sharpshooter, that person that's cutting, that's always moving, can't nobody check her because she's never in one spot. Not having her, and then not having Olivia Miles. Yeah, your team look a little different this year, right? Still got respect for the squad, right? But they had a tough loss, and the record reflects on the AP poll. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it here. Boom. This what everybody talking about. This is what everybody talking about. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to let's talk about LSU real quick. Okay. Shout out to Vandy. Shout out to Vanderbilt. Shout out to Vandy. Vandy upset LSU in such a glorious way. A game that it closes in a 4-point spread, right? A tight game all throughout, right? Tight first quarter, low scoring game, right? Defense. Y'all all seen loving basketball. Offense sells tickets, defense wins games. And so when it's a low scoring game, may the best defender win. And in this case, it was Vanderbilt. If you watch any part of the game, even if you just watch the highlights, you will see that Vanderbilt's defense is what won them the game, right? That's beside the point real quick. I want to talk about how down went Frazier though, because it was pretty monumental, the defeat, right? Specifically because LSU is coming off another defeat, right? In Kentucky, another SEC team. So at the very start of the SEC season, LSU was down 2-0 out the gate. That's not how you want to start. That's not how you want to start, especially for a team who was just in the Final Four. It's not how you want to start for a team who just took home a championship, right? A couple years ago. So you don't want to start that way. However, shout out to Michaela Blakes, right? Shout out to Michaela Blakes. Shout out to Vandy, right? The entire team, coaching staff, everybody, right? And the energy in the building. I'm gonna go to an article that was literally just delivered to my email maybe about 15 minutes before the stream. Kind of held me up because I was reading it a little bit. It's from the basketball powered by the next, right? So it's a basketball community that will, provide you some email blasts with some content that you may or may not like, but I happen to love. So let me go ahead and put it up on the screen real quick so y'all can see what I'm reading. Boom, right from the emails. I ain't cap. I keep telling y'all. Vanderbilt's whole team approach is paying out big so far. Okay, boom. Team approach. Now, when you think about Vanderbilt, you think about out the gate, Michaela, right? You think about her out the gate because she they leading scorer. But this article says that their team approach is what's paying out big so far. First paragraph. It was immediately clear upon stepping foot in Vanderbilt's Memorial Gymnasium Sunday afternoon that something was different. For starters, the arena was packed, loud, rowdy students lined row after row of seats. Young kids clamored to get a glimpse of the players on the floor. The reason why was so easy to guess. The Commodores welcomed the LSU Tigers to Nashville yesterday, and this game was a big one. So that's setting the tone, setting the stage. Everybody know how big of a game this was. Not just for LSU, especially LSU coming off a loss, but Vanderbilt, for them to show the world that it's more people in the SEC than South Carolina and LSU. Okay, in Texas. My bad. Respect. Okay. It's more teams in the SEC that want that smoke, that's ready for the. And so Vanderbilt understood out the gate that they had to show improve because I feel like they kind of felt a little disrespected. You feel me? Now granted, this to shout out to Vandy. They have earned everybody's respect even prior to the game. Right? I was already coming in like, LSU better work. They're gonna have to work. This gonna be the hardest test. Right? Now, let me say this to y'all real quick. Because every week I get up here and I talk about, before I talk about that, do what she said. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules. Make sure y'all hit that like, hit that share button, hit that subscribe, hop into the comments, get into the live chat, get active with me. You feel me? Let's turn up. Let's turn up. Shout out to JTTV Podcast, one of my moderators. You feel me? Every week I come over here and I talk about strength of schedule and how when you have such a weak schedule to start the year, it does you a disservice, right? It does you a disservice, you and your team, because you don't really know how your team cut. On top of that, you ain't really been challenged. Growth happens when you're challenged, not when is easy. Okay. Shout out to JTTVP, that background looking. Hey, appreciate you. Respect. Appreciate you. It's a lot of hard work. Everybody want to get into this stream and stuff, right? But they don't understand every hobby got a price, right? And then once you elevate that hobby and now you start taking it serious, that price double up, triple up. You feel me? And so you got to be ready to ride, ready to slide. You know what I mean? But you know how we get down. Not for profit, never fold. You're shout out to Free Lenz. Hey, look though. I always talk about strength of schedule and how that we need to make sure it will behoove these teams to make sure that they have a balanced schedule throughout the year, even if you play the same exact teams, right? So instead of having all SEC play start at January, so what were we doing for the first 2 months of the season? Wasting our time? No, we should start SEC games early in the season. Maybe not I'll maybe give you the first 2 weeks, but forget all that. Y'all are NIL athletes now. Y'all get paid now. Back when y'all wasn't getting paid, maybe we could say, okay, you could take 10, 12 games off and just obliterate some of these teams that you shouldn't even want to play. And that's on G. You shouldn't even want to play some of these teams. But you do it so you can pad up your schedule, right? To go into game 14 and you already got 14 wins, right? So you can pad up the stats and the records in the points per game in the individual stats. So by the time you get to 13, now you like, okay, well, we got two people that's averaging 15 points. Yeah, on some bump, respectfully though, to all the teams that they didn't play and kind of like on some bums though. On some bums though. You know how it was when you play pickup basketball. Everybody here, well, if you pull up the her core, her rules, you got a little something in right? Play a little pickup basketball and you know what you got on your team. You pulled up with them, right? Okay, I got my boy here. They lead him open. They cook because he can't miss, right? Boom. My boy here, he got handles for days and he a lefty. So most people want to probably try to play him to the left. Don't matter. That he gonna cook a boom. My boy here, hella physical, anything in the paint, he got that. Boom. Right. So if you know the makeup of your team and you already know what you coming with, then you know who you playing. Oh, they ain't got no ball handler. They ain't really got no good shooter out there. Okay, they really don't understand floor spacing. All right, bet they don't understand help defense. So if I blow past them, I know ain't nobody coming back. Bet. Oh yeah, we about to run the table. We just looking at the comp. I ain't even got a bounce ball. Just me looking at how y'all warm up over there. Me and my girls warming up. You and your squad warming up. I'm just like, yeah, we about to smoke. It's over with. Ain't no smoking the city game already over. Just go ahead and so they had 13 games like that. And then they go and get into some real smoke. And now, you know, y'all know. Oh, y'all don't? Okay.
Goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Down went Frazier. Though they thought LSU lost to Kentucky during their conference debut January 1st. Vanderbilt entered Sunday's game as one of a handful of undefeated teams remaining in women's college basketball, and they exited. Hold on, and they exited as one of only four.
Down goes Frazier. Down
One of
goes
only
Frazier.
four.
Down goes
One of
Frazier.
only four. Bruh. They gotta stop. They gotta stop. They gotta stop. Hold on. So the thing about LSU is this, has always been this for me. And it's not LSU specifically. It's kind of like a Kim Mulkey thing, right? I feel like Kim Mulkey just gets comfortable and she gets comfortable with having usually better talent on her team than others. And there have been plenty of moments where we've seen Mulkey get out coached on the biggest of stages. Y'all know Dawn Staley coached circles around her the first two times they met. So what I'm saying is this. Just like Kim Mulkey said at the end of the game in a press conference, post-game press conference, our team look a little soft. And I got to do a better job of getting them in front of better competition, so I know what we need. Essentially, what we need to work on. I'm paraphrasing. Y'all know. Y'all seen the post game, and I'm like, it's just dawning on y'all now, though, right? Though, like that's why I talk about every week strength of schedule, and I don't think that you having a super weak schedule, first 13 games, and you just varsity freshman squad people, like you just we already know we gonna run up 100 points on some bums. That's not a flex. Not a flex. That's why you never really heard me talk about it. I mentioned it once because it's a stat, right? And everybody love the stats. But you never heard me like advocating on behalf of LSU because of the amount of points they put up in the first 8 games of the season. I never did that because you put those points up again on bums. So like when I was younger and my uncle used to train me, and yeah, my uncle used to wax me. Of course he should. You feel me? Wax. Every time you get a court, wax. I'm waxing the court with me, right? But he should. He's teaching me, right? But that's not my peer. If my peer is busting my A every single time, my peer is just better than me. They're not teaching me anything, right? If somebody else, if I was training with, if I went to the gym with Maya Moore, do I expect her to take it easy on me? One or two. for me to get some points up? No. If I went to the gym with Caitlin Clark, do I expect to get some points up? No. I might get up here and talk shit all day long, but no. Not nobody in. Well, there's some people in the WNBA. I swear, for a slice of cheese, I'd be like, yeah, nah, I got her number for sure, right? But the vast majority, I'm like, no, they professionals for a reason. My thing is this: play professionals on your level. And so when I get up here and talk about how UConn, shout out to UConn, right? When I get up here and talk about how UConn just has a super easy schedule in comparison to the other top 25 teams, non Big East teams, I'm like, damn, well, ain't nobody else in the Big East in the top 25. But I'm just saying, that just goes to show you, nobody else in your conference is in the top 25. Come on now. What we doing? Anyway, shout out to them. Shout out to them. I just wanted to show y'all that when Vanderbilt is mind is focused and on the not just the mission, but just letting people know that let me remind you who I am, right? What we can do. Okay, we do have the second leading scorer in the country. Now again, I don't be getting on the stats like that, but the stats do matter. She had come into that game already giving up 30 points or dropping 30 points the prior 3 games, right? So it's not to my surprise or amazement, bewilderment, okay, that she won them that game again. Not just her, the team, but really on her back though, because she got them off to a quicker start. So shout out to Vanderbilt on the upset. We're gonna get into this top 25 here shortly. Let's go into a little bit more of the chicken talk for the last couple days, man. Texas escapes Ole Miss again. It was a very hard fought game. Texas started off early and then continued on and continued to level up that pressure defensively in that second quarter. The third quarter, we saw Ole Miss start to adjust. Prior to the third quarter, the first half, I felt like they shouldn't have ended that second quarter with 4 points. They blew a lot of layups. I feel like they just rushed a lot of shots. I felt like they were still a little scared a little bit. They were still playing a little, a little timid. And then they gave up a lot of easy buckets in the paint. And you can't give up nothing easy with Texas. So if you don't score your layups, right? You blowing your layups, right? And then you are giving them that baseline cut. You know what I'm saying? They had a runner running the baseline, a girl running the baseline, right? And she getting wide open looks just by moving, right? Because their center is setting that off screen. So when she running off that screen off the baseline, it's just right. But then the adjustment happened, right? So that's why I said, oh, Miss is very sneaky. Very sneaky. Sometimes their offense just gets stagnant and they just get in their own way, right? They don't trust the motion as much. However, when they lock in defensively and play off their defense and allow their defense to create transition, fast break buckets and things like that, then you have a third quarter where they completely get back in the game, right? They not necessarily stop Texas from doing what they want to do, but they are now able to keep up with scoring. And at the end of the day, sometimes you might be a step behind defensively, right? I started this show off to saying that defense win games, but sometimes you might just have that J might just be pop. You feel me? And when it's like that, like sometimes your focus is only on hitting the shot because the shot is just falling, baby. You can't miss nothing. You ain't never had one of them type of games. I had one game in my entire life where I'm like, damn, I can't miss nothing. I'm talking about a game with referees. We ain't talking about pickup basketball. Pickup basketball, usually I'm never off, right? I might miss 2 shots in a row. But usually, if I miss more than 2 shots, I'm going him sub me out because my jumper broke today. But shooters don't miss 2 in a row, so that's just me. But that's beside the point. This ain't about me. This is about Ole Miss and them. So they absolutely did what they were supposed to do offensively, picking up that scoring, and then they turned that defense all the way on that fourth quarter, all the way on that fourth quarter. And boy, if Texas hadn't had such a cushion going into that fourth quarter, right? Because look, they had 10, 13, 14 points up on them going into the halftime, right? And they were still able to maintain their attack offensively in the third, but then the fourth they dropped off. The fourth they dropped off. They got real close. Ole Miss got real close to pulling the upset, and they was about to be down like Frazier, okay, just like LSU and them guys, okay. But you know, shout out to Texas, they held on strong. They held on strong, but TCU did not. TCU did not hold on strong. TCU was upset by Utah. Okay. Now I don't know many things about Utah, but I know last time I checked, they ain't come to play. They did not come to play. They said, "Oh, you on all? Oh, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. What we doing? We said we on the. Hold on, what? Okay, bet. Let's go. It's game time. So it's a home game for Utah. For Utah, I'm about to say YouTube. Home game for Utah. Look at the scoring though. Look at the score. It was a pretty tight game all throughout. All throughout, it was a tight game. Tight game. There was a little bit of cushion for TCU going into the third quarter. However, Utah was able to get back into the game, outscored them by 7 points, and then TCU was able to go ahead and recover the ground and force overtime. Okay. But then overtime, it got ugly. It got real ugly. Nobody thought that 8 ranked TCU, undefeated TCU, was about to go in and get clipped by Utah. Nobody thought that. And so here we are. Here we are. That TCU, another team upset down, going down like Frazier. Listen, my girl Olivia put some points up. So let's kind of look up the schedule last night real quick, just in case anybody ain't see those games. Hold on. Bing bop boom bop boom. Y'all know that? That's one of my favorite songs. All right, let's go. We got some points here. All right, so I told you I wasn't going to talk too much about South Carolina. They did beat Florida again. It wasn't a blowout. 11 points is not a blowout, so that was a very tough game for them, tough win for them. LSU lost again. We already just seen that. Lost by 4. Michaela Blake's dropped 32 points. Come on, man. Um, Malaysia didn't have the best game. Obviously, their high score of the entire um LSU team was 13 points in Malaysia. She did have some turnovers. I feel like she's always probably going to have turnover issues just cuz she plays um a little loose, a little sporadic at times. So, you kind of got to just like live. I think you just got to live with it, bro. I think when you are coaching her, you just got to live with it, bro. Um it is what it is. You hope that you can motivate her enough where that even if she has high turnovers, that she understands you got to go get me that back. Like you got to go get me that back. You can't just turn my ball over and then you know what I'm saying. It's over with. So nah, let me go get that back. So yeah, Vanderbilt go ahead and knocked off LSU. Maryland beats Indiana, and let's get into some more of these games here because we had some upsets. We did have some more upsets. Baylor defeated Iowa State, and we were talking about this in the comments about how Iowa State, keep your eyes open because we believe that Iowa State, the longer this season goes and the more the closer we get to March Madness, that potentially Iowa State may drop a couple. Um Mainly because of the pressure that's going to be applied to Iowa State, like the full court pressure. On top of if you play a faster team, it kind of limits the damage that Audie Crooks can that she can do to your team because yeah, you got to stop her from scoring, and that's already problematic in itself, right? But if she's unable to stop any of y'all from scoring, as far as if it's so much motion, if we got backdoor cuts, if we got slants, if we got, you know what I mean, screens, and if we got a lot going on just in off ball movement, then somebody like Audie Crooks, it might be a little difficult for her to keep up with the flow of their offense defensively, right? And so I think we saw just a little bit of lag and a little bit of slowdown as the game intensified, especially in the fourth quarter. So again, I mean, Iowa State is always going to be a threat, but I think yesterday it also it showed the world that don't sleep on Baylor, don't sleep on Baylor Bears, because they out here and they need you to put some respect on their name. So I'm not mad at that. Look at that. They have the highest scoring quarter of the two teams. They dropped 24 points in the second quarter, and I think that's impressive because over there on Iowa State, they have the number one score in the country, right? And so for a team to outscore you, um, or score the most points in a quarter for the game between the two teams, I think that's impressive in itself. That's like a stat that's not a stat, but like when you think of, but that team has the best league's best score. Wow. One would think it would have been a little reverse there. That's just me. That's just me. Let's go into the next game, man. Another upset. I'm trying to tell y'all, these last yesterday was upset Sunday, bro. I don't know what got into they everybody ate their Wheaties and they was like, yeah, we don't put no money on them. Ruin everybody's parlays. Ruin everybody's draft pick or draft kings or whatever the little fan duel. Ruin everybody's. That's what yesterday felt like. See, I don't be gambling, but if I did, I probably would have been a broke ass after yesterday because everybody was upset. Upset. Stanford beat North Carolina in overtime. Now, here's the thing about Stanford. Stanford has produced some of the WNBA's best talent. Okay. Stanford, and then on the men's side, okay, okay. Stanford, I felt like even going into the season, every season Stanford is always a March Madness threat. I don't care if they are ranked or not. They get that bid, they're a threat every season, and obviously they're under new coaching, right? So, their legendary coach has since retired. However, Stanford is still a threat. And it showed. Look, they beat them in overtime by 6. Most people would say that Stanford should not have won. As far as going into that game, most people had North Carolina win. However, their records were almost identical. And they have I don't want to say similar. They have similar archetypes of players on each team, on both teams, I would say. And so it kind of made, I just knew it was going to be a competitive game. And so it was, with the overtime victor going to Stanford. Great game, great game. A whole lot of upsets. Upset. This one, only thing that was upset about this was my Virginia Tech Hokies and the Hokies Nation, because again, Louisville, every game they've been showing that they are absolutely the best team in the ACC. It's super clear. They put up over 25 points in 2 quarters back to back in the second and third. They obliterated my Virginia Tech Hokies. And respectfully, I wouldn't expect anything less of Louisville, right? They've been playing such high quality, high grade basketball this season. And then Louisville again is another team under their coaching regime that just has great pedigree, and you know, he know what he doing over there. He know what he doing. So then produce the likes of Haley Van Liv, although he probably won't get the credit for it, but we know who did it. Dana Evans. You feel me? I can keep going. So there we go, man. And Louisville, I mean, they really turned up and turned out. And they smoked them young ladies. And unfortunately, That's my favorite team, so I still gotta rock with them. Let's go to this top 25 AP poll, and let's get this up on the screen. Bam, 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 bam. All right, let's get this AP poll work. Poll work is crazy that I said that out loud. Let's get this poll work is crazy. All right, poll work. I'm trying to change my screen so I can see it better, and then y'all can see the poll work better. All right, bet. All right, so we got the top 25 poll. Obviously, UConn, unmoved, unwavered, unbothered. Okay, not shaken, not stirred, not a problem. Okay, still number one, still undefeated, and one of only 4 undefeated teams now remaining in the league. NCAA women's basketball. Number 2, Texas again. They had the hard fought win against Ole Miss. South Carolina, another team, haven't lost in a good little grip. Okay. Number 3 again. Number 4, UCLA. Top 4 teams have not moved, have not budged a bit. Then it starts to get real smoky around 5. Okay, starts to get real smoky around 5. Remember, I said 5 through 10, all of them have lost games. The previous 5 through 10, all of them lost games over the last week. So now presents us with a new 5 through 10. Okay, Oklahoma, number 5. Shout out to Oklahoma Sooners. Shout out to the Sooners Nation. Shout out to y'all. Number 6, Kentucky. Wow. Kentucky came in, put the beating on LSU. You feel me? And they out here moving on up, moving on up. Vanderbilt did the same thing. They said, "Oh, how Kentucky win? Let's do that. Let's just go on and spend the block." Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what they said. Maryland, what a great game from Maryland. Okay, and then also Michigan and Louisville rounding out that top 10. Now, last week I said, or the last time I did a top 25 poll, I said, I think the top 10 teams are pretty set. I'm like, I feel like if anybody's shaking, it'll probably be that, 8 through 10, right? Because 8 and we were tied for 8 last week. We were tied for 8. We had Oklahoma. Well, they had TCU, Oklahoma tied for 8, and then they had Iowa State at 10. Okay. All of them gone. Okay. Oklahoma, they moved on up, right? They moved on up because they had that great win. Iowa State lost, so they dropped down. LSU, baby, LSU was number 5. They bounced all the way down to the 12. So Oklahoma took formerly known as LSU spot in top 5, which is crazy. I was just making the case for LSU to sneak in the top 3. Right? I was making the case because I said, I think in my mind, I thought that maybe South Carolina was gonna catch an L before LSU, right? Especially with the injury to Latson. So I'm like, all right, if I gotta bet, I would say South Carolina probably gonna lose. And if they lose, and I think it would be natural, especially being in the SEC, right? That LSU make that jump. Well, LSU losing 2 SEC games in a row, back to back, makes it a little challenging. So not only did they drop and lose their 5th seed, okay, they dropped all the way out to top 10. So again, 5 through 10, they just got here, right? Oklahoma been here, respectfully, but the rest of them, they just got here. Cause where TCU at? Right below LSU. Right below LSU. Right? So TCU lost to an unranked team, Utah. Okay. It knocked them completely out of the top 10. They were just last week trying to figure out how to settle this tie between Oklahoma and themselves, TCU. and they completely out of the top 10, and they are now in top 13. But shout out to Louisville, shout out to Michigan, shout out to Maryland, whole lot of Big Ten up in here. You feel me? So we see a lot of SEC and a lot of Big Ten. I said that I thought that the Big Ten might have had the tougher schedule, right? Because it's a lot of the Big Ten is ranked. Okay, so hold on, let me pull up the entire Big Ten. So Big Ten. When you be looking at conferences, you be like, damn, this be a bunch of conferences, bro. It's crazy. All right. Let me pull up this Big Ten conference just so y'all see. So we got UCLA, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan State, Illinois. Don't sleep on Illinois either. Wisconsin, Ohio State, USC, okay? Washington, Michigan, Nebraska, Minnesota, Oregon, Northwestern, Indiana, Purdue, Rutgers, Penn State. Okay, so we know we ain't got to worry about Penn State, Rutgers, Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, Oregon, right? Minnesota, right? Nebraska, they still play tough basketball, but I wouldn't necessarily worry about them. Then here's where the shit show starts. Okay, Michigan, definitely a problem team. Okay. USC, Ohio State. I don't know much about Washington. That's why I skipped them. All due respect, but skipping you. Okay. Ohio State, still problematic, even without Cody McMahon, right? Transferred to Ole Miss, which is why Ole Miss is so problematic right now. You got Wisconsin, you got Illinois. They almost knocked off Maryland, right? Well, it wasn't almost, but Maryland had to fight. Michigan State, Maryland, Iowa, UCLA. Right now, UConn made Iowa look foolish, okay? But that's UConn. Okay. Everybody's not gonna make a quality team look bad. So UConn built a little different. For the rest of them though, in the Big Ten, okay, they got some problems on their hands, right? You gotta play every game and you gotta play it with your life depended on it. Okay. Same thing with the SEC, right? You got to play every SEC in conference game like your life depends on it. Okay,
Goes Frazier.
or that,
Goes Frazier.
or that's gonna happen,
Goes Frazier.
or that's gonna happen. So a lot of teams went down this week. Let's look at the AP poll. What ESPN is talking about. You know, I love trying to go to ESPN and looking at their commentary and reading their. Y'all got to sneeze all of a sudden. Lord. Reading what their writers have to say. Okay. Woo. Back. Okay. Back. Had to shake that off. All right. Bet. Number one, Huskies survive. No, they didn't survive nothing because guess what? They keep winning. They been winning. They ain't lost none yet. So the number one Huskies, previously ranked 1, still ranked 1, 15-0. The Huskies are off to their best start since 2017-2018 when they started a 36-0 win streak before losing in the Final Four. Fun fact, the Huskies will always be those girls. I'm sorry, it just is what it is. And sometimes you can want to hate them because they so good, and sometimes you just got to be like, if you can't beat them, join them. Hell, I guess we all secretly, UConn fans. We all have to secretly be UConn fans, right? Because if you can't beat them, join them, right? So I'm not about to be a sneak hater on UConn my whole life. No, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? I remember when I was a kid, I want to go to UConn. No, I didn't, but I can say that because I used to hoop. And for real, I did have UConn shorts. So, and it was my favorite basketball shorts. I ain't gonna hold you. And I also felt like it was a young lady who from my hood, not my specific hood, but from my a neighboring hood that went to UConn. So I really felt proud that I knew somebody who went to UConn. Now she didn't play much, but she went there. I don't think she finished school, but she got there. Okay, that's that part. Number 2, Texas Longhorns make me want a little steak and a blooming onion from Texas Longhorn. But that's okay. They're ranked number 2, 17-0. Again, they've been cooking. They've been cooking with their two-headed monster in Harmon and Booker. Madison Booker has scored at least 20 points in 5 of her last 7 games. Shout out to 35. Shout out to 35, man. Booker been cooking. Speaking of Booker, also on the flip side, Devin Booker, did y'all see the step back 3 game winner he hit on OKC? OKC out here, Thunder out here showing big flaws. They beatable after all, I see. Okay. Okay. Y'all know Indiana was going to clip him last year if Halliburton when it got injured, but that's beside the point. We'll talk about that later on another episode. Number 3, South Carolina Gamecocks. 15-1, injured Tanaya Latson, the Gamecocks' second leader scorer, missed her second consecutive game this past Sunday. South Carolina committed a season high of 21 turnovers in the 74-63 victory over Florida. Again, I told y'all it wasn't a good look. It wasn't a pretty win, man. They just barely went. Barley, POP, hold me down. Barley won. Okay, but that's okay. The least they won. At the end of the day, if you are on Team Dawn side, to stay on her good side, I don't care how you get the job done, baby, get it done. Now we'll clean up the mess later on after the victory. Come home with an L, and y'all gonna be. And y'all know I feel like Dawn, one of them coaches that had you running for real. And I would never want to be in that position. So shout out to South Carolina. Number 3, UCLA. You see, they ain't got much to say about them because they put the beating on USC. Okay, so shout out to UCLA. Man, Lauren Betts averaging 16.3 points a game. Kiki Rice, 15.3. Gianna Neepkins, 14.3. Gabriella Jaquez, 14 points. Man, listen, Angela, 10 points. They cooking. They are so well balanced, though, between perimeter and inside the paint. Then you got Gianna who can play all around, and then she get the shot up so fast, boom. And then Kiki in USC game, right? On the fast break, about to close out the half. She hit it on the fast break. She hit him with the little the Euro, but then finished on the left with the 2 hands though. It was like, oh, you are not blocking this shot. I'm gonna go up strong. And then at the very end, let it go with the left. I said, yo, she cold. She a bad piece of work. Shout out to UCLA. I still do love my USC Trojans and all that because way back since loving basketball, right? So shout out to Trojan Nation. However, we can't wait for Juju to get back because they need that. They need you. Ju, we need you. We need you and we need you. Okay, boom. Oklahoma Sooners, man. 14-1. Previous rank was 8. They have moved up to 5. The Sooners are on a 13-game winning streak in the second longest. It is the second longest in program history. And now they play Ole Miss on Thursday. That's another SEC game. That's another in-conference game. Oh, Lord. What's about to happen, y'all? Let me get some odds. If y'all got Thursday, if y'all got Oklahoma going up against Ole Miss, put some ones in the chat. Put some ones in the chat. If Thursday, if y'all got Ole Miss beating Oklahoma, put some twos in the chat. Put some twos in the chat. I'm trying to see what y'all predictions are, man. Let me know how y'all coming. I think I'm a for me. I think I'm gonna take Ole Miss though. I don't know, man. Connie McMahon, I swear, I just really don't be trying to bet against her. But Ole Miss coach, man, I just think she might have something up her sleeve going into the next game, especially off this in-conference loss. I don't think she want to take 2 of them. So, say Ole Miss beats Oklahoma. Ole Miss currently ranked 18. Let's say Ole Miss beats Oklahoma. So if Ole Miss 18 beats Oklahoma ranked 5 on this upcoming Thursday, where potentially would that put Ole Miss? Maybe it just depends on who else loses in the SEC. Because again, everybody gonna catch some L's in the SEC. And I feel the same with the Big Ten as well. right? As these conference play continues again, get ready. Get ready. The top it might just be the top one. It might just be UConn left. UConn might be undefeated, the only undefeated team by the end of the season. That wouldn't surprise me. Usually most teams are undefeated by the end of the season. But I think UConn will be the only one and probably for a significant time. Like I feel like yeah, they'll be undefeated probably for the entire season, but I feel like if there are only 4 teams left remaining that are undefeated, and let's go ahead and name out those teams. 4 teams left that are undefeated are UConn, Texas, Vanderbilt. Who am I missing? Texas Tech, right? So if any of these undefeated teams lose a game, on top of if there are also other losses, significant losses within their conference, within their competitors, we might see 2 through fucking 25 alternate. 2 through 25. I think just last week it was all good just a week ago. I think just last week everybody had more confidence in whoever their favorite team was. If your favorite team is UConn, then you're still pretty confident. No worries. No no sweat on your brow. But if your favorite team is somebody else, maybe and only reason why I'm saying Texas is because they in SEC, not because of how they play, mainly because they're in the SEC. I'm not gonna be. I don't know what to. You feel me? So it's gonna be a long January. Even though y'all feel like time moving fast a little bit, slightly. Is it just me? I feel like time moving fast. So even though the days I feel like are going faster, I feel like the month might still feel long. Is that crazy? I hope I ain't bugging. I hope somebody else out there like me, y'all. For real, for real. All right, let's get to this last. We went through top 14 so far. Go back here. Boom. Boom. So Oklahoma is 5. Kentucky Wildcats, shout out to them. They are 6 after handling LSU. Is handing LSU his first loss in January. The Wildcats beat Missouri on Sunday for their 8th consecutive victory. Okay, great wins. Shout out to Kentucky. Vanderbilt did the same thing. Bing, bop, boom, boom to LSU. You feel me? Michaela Blakes scored 32 points this Sunday, and they upset, those LSU Tigers 65-61. Now, Vanderbilt again, they are facing some Thursday gonna be a matchup of all matchups. Just everybody turn to SEC Nation on Thursday, and it's gonna go crazy because we got a bunch of SEC games. So they play Missouri on Thursday. That might be one that y'all want to turn into for sure. Missouri, are they scary? They're not raw like a dungeon dragon, but if you play light, then you'll get taken 99. You know what I mean? Maryland, 15-1. They are ranked number 8, and they have jumped all the way up from. I'm sorry, they dipped from 7. They dipped from 7. Yeah, Maryland and Michigan, they're gonna be right next to each other all year. Watch. Michigan number 9. They were previously ranked 6. Michigan did catch a L. They caught a L to Wolverines, which is what's that called? West Virginia. And then this Monday, today, actually, 6:30. This game is on now. I forgot this game is on. They are playing Minnesota again. Minnesota is Big Ten in general is just a tough conference. They lose one more time, they're gonna be sitting at probably 14-15. So Michigan better tighten up. Because Louisville on everybody here. Louisville might F around and be top 16, top 5 team in a minute. Y'all better watch out. Y'all better watch out. Them 14-3 Cardinals are coming. They won 7 straight since losing to South Carolina in ACC SEC Women's Challenge, which was a good game, but South Carolina. Um, Iowa State lost again after Audie Crooks. She had dropped 5 consecutive 30-point games. She ended that last game with 26. And she only got 4 in the second half, which again, like I said earlier, she kind of slowed down as the game progressed and closed out. So it was only right for their another hitter on their team. Jada Williams was the only other player on Iowa State to score double digits. So again, I mean, you getting over 50 points, damn near 60 points between two players. So I mean, you can't really be mad at that, but then you also got to look at when some of my players are like taking a step back or slowing down, I need other people to pick up the pieces. Pick up the pieces. You feel me? Then we got LSU Tigers. They dropped to 12. Um, and then let's go through it now. We got TCU 13, Iowa 14, Michigan State 15, Baylor Bears. Shout out to Baylor. 16, Texas Tech. Again, one of 4 only unbeaten teams in the NCAA Women's Basketball League. Ole Miss 18, right? They couldn't quite beat Texas, but that's okay. Great, well fought game. Ohio State 19, Tennessee even playing some really good basketball too. Another SEC team. Y'all better be on the watch. Again, any and all of these teams are going to be very dangerous by the time March Madness comes. Do y'all think there's any fool's gold? Okay, anybody we should be on the fraud watch about? Who are the frauds here? Let there be one. Will they step to the front? We don't know yet. We won't know until March starts. But when that does, yo, I'm telling you, it's gonna be turned up. We got 21 Southern Cal, okay, USC, North Carolina University, Washington, Princeton. Shout out to Princeton. Princeton still moving, still climbing. I remember just 2 weeks ago, Princeton just got in, right? And so they climbed up one more. So shout out to them. There are some other teams that received some votes. Illinois, Big Ten team with 58 votes. Notre Dame. Again, Notre Dame was 18. They dropped completely out of the top 25. Completely out of the top 25. Stanford, NC State, they were a top 25 team. They're out of there, right? Alabama, West Virginia always got some players, right? Georgia, Duke is coming. Duke is coming, okay? Oklahoma State, they play some good basketball too. Now they lost a good game against Oklahoma, the in-state rivalry. What was probably maybe about 3 weeks ago. But they play really, really good basketball just in general. That's the first game I thought of because I thought it was a real good game. Either way, that's the top 10. I mean, top 25, y'all. I mean, a whole lot of shakeups, a whole lot of drama. A lot of teams that we thought should still be in the top 10 or top 15, they're not even in the top 25 anymore. Right? So it's for y'all to sleep on any of these top 25 teams at this point. I mean, unless it's UConn, and really, y'all, when I'm saying UConn, I'm really saying Sarah Strong. That's the only person on UConn that I'm like, y'all, tip my hat. Okay? That's the only person on UConn that really, in my opinion, from my eye test, I don't care about no stat. I'm talking about when I watch UConn for Sarah Strong. I don't care about what nobody else doing, but I want to see her rebound the ball, bring the ball down, cross people over, set up the play, call for the screen. I want to see her do every aspect of basketball on top of playing defense, rotating, blocking shots. Okay? I only I hate to say it, but I really only watch UConn for Sarah Strong. It is what it is. Um if she was on a different team, I would say she was my favorite player. But I think that she's the best player in college basketball. And she could do everything. So anybody who can do everything is a friend of mine. Okay? Bing, bop, boom. Okay, shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Happy Monday. Good evening. Appreciate y'all for pulling up to Her Core, Her Rules. Y'all know each and every episode is powered by Free Your Lens, a lifestyle brand encouraging dope people like you to do all things with purpose and intention. You feel me? Including pulling up the right slide. Y'all see what it's doing? It's hating. So each and every episode is powered by Free Your Lens. Make sure y'all check us out, freeyourlens.com. Check out the merch. Check out what we got going on. While you here, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe. And if you watching on the replay, always get into the comments. Man, I read every single comment. I respond to every single comment. I appreciate every single comment. So again, I'm glad and appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. We do this every Monday, okay? Monday around 6 p.m. ish, right? I say ish because sometimes I start at 6:02. Sometimes, like today, I started at 6:10, right? So we do this every Monday at 6 p.m. ish EST. And then on Wednesdays, we do our calf state of mind at 6 p.m. EST. If you don't remember anything, just remember, pull up at 6, hit the subscribe. The bell gonna go off anyway, so you ain't even got to miss when we go live. You already know it's your girl Najah Lee. It's been a it's been a pleasure rocking with y'all talking about basketball tonight. I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip Wednesday at 6. Y'all already know how we go. You already know how we sign out. Peace and freedom. Happy Monday. See y'all on the flip. It's your girl Najah Lee. Her core, her rules.